Okay, I actually had to stop what I was working on for this because I couldn't help it. About an hour ago, as to when I'm writing this, Warrior Cats put out a TikTok, and I don't use TikTok. I think it's a hellscape, but obviously this got linked in every possible place where I exist. So Warrior Cats is seemingly making some new plushies that don't suck. Now, we only have these tiny little pictures, and we don't know, well, the manufacturing quality, although Scourge's fur looks like it's a bit nicer than the texture of Firestar's. But look at the structure of their designs. Big eyes, cute expressions, and most importantly, no bulldog features whatsoever. No ugly whisker pads, no long muzzle lines, and no strange attempts at realism in a cheap children's toy. My assumption here is that these guys are made out of all the same things as the mini plush heads were. Now, they didn't get very far with the mini plush heads, but look at them. Just look at these things, okay? They don't even look cute. Their eyes are too far up. They've got that big spotty muzzle thing going on. Whatever is supposed to be cute about these, they look kickable. They look like you want to take this and you just want to kick it across a football field. They look like a character that was designed to be annoying. But that's probably why they didn't make more of them. I can't imagine that these things sold very well at all. Like, compare here. Compare the noses and the eyes and the chins to these new plushies. These are actually legitimately cute. My only gripe whatsoever with these things is the unnecessary circle of embroidering around Firestar's mouth. It's very obvious and thick and draws attention to the area under it, as if Firestar has a bit of a double chin. He's much less cute than the Scourge because of this. If they can do embroidery over the stripes like they've done with the whiskers, the ideal here would be to just print the lighter mouth color on, just like they printed and/or airbrushed the stripes. I don't actually know much about how these things are made, sorry. But I do know that those stripes were printed and/or airbrushed on. But that mouth circle doesn't need to be there. In general, the less outlined detail on these things, the cuter they're gonna be. Muzzle circle aside, it gives me a lot of hope that these are printed on instead of being embroidered or outlined. Because if you look at the real vinyl minis, a lot of the design problems are stemming from all of the unnecessary lines and cuts. They're over-detailed. If the markings no longer have big, obvious cut outlines, we don't need to worry quite so much with these mini plushies. But on top of that, Firestar's design is already heavily simplified from the Mini's design. He doesn't even have a full kangaroo on his head, only a diamond. Which is a huge step forward in, just the coherency of these things. The red collar on Scourge is funny, though. The collar on the minifigure is pretty much a solid in-between in a few ways, but this plushie has a red one, completely willing to contradict both the books themselves and the infographics on the website. They should change the color they're making Scourge's collar every time they print a new wave of these just to stir fake cat drama. The features on their faces are still embroidered on, seemingly around the same way as the old plushies had, but the designs are just magnitudes less ugly. Because these faces are still being embroidered, I do hope that this means that we're going to get more varied expressions, more tired eyes, maybe more round, cute eyes looking to the side. We already have one cat smiling and one cat pouting. They could vary if or not the cats have fangs, how big or round their pupils are, and all sorts of things that weren't really possible in the older, less interesting plush cats. They overall have a lot more potential for personality than the previous ones, and if the company isn't putting their foot down about realistic cats like before, the expressions these plush might have will add more to the recognizability of the characters. Already we have this confident, determined Firestar and a pouting, angry Scourge. If you look at this Scourge next to Scourge large plush cat from the store, the old one basically looks like a bootleg. And, well, to be honest, despite everything, it's kind of hard to recognize as a cat next to the cuter, more appealing, cartoonish cat. But I guess that's what happens when you push for realistic cats, but you don't actually know what a cat looks like. Either way, this new plush looks like Scourge. It looks evil. The old plush is generically happy and smiling and has this big, goofy expression. He looks silly, like he's another cat who dressed up as Scourge for Halloween. Likewise, if we compare all of the plush Firestars that the store has put out officially, the first mini plush head is completely blank and expressionless. It looks like a wild animal who's going to, frolic away and then go eat some grass somewhere, which isn't unrealistic for a cat, obviously. But aside from having the right colors, nothing about this plush is a warrior cat. Similarly, the larger Firestar, the second Firestar that they put out, well, technically the third, but let's just say it's the second Firestar they put out, is exactly like the Scourge. There is no difference. The expression is empty and generically happy. It tells you much less about the character than one of the minifigures does, and much, much less about the character than this new, more cartoonish plush does. I do wonder on some level if this direction came in response to the popularity of fan-made merchandise in recent years. There was a very large interest in any fan-made Warrior Cats merchandise where the cats were depicted as being cute or pretty, not like the several purposefully ugly ones that the store was putting out. And while the only tangible similarity between these guys and, say, Dirty Noodle's Itty Bitty Kitties is the fact that they're both sitting and bobble-headed chibi-like figures, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it turned out the team had seen those Itty Bitty Kitties and the popularity of them and gone, oh geez, why aren't we doing that? Especially considering that their primary audience is preteens, the fact that they hadn't had any stylized merchandise up until this point is almost baffling. Either way, the Warrior Cats website has in fact unlocked a secret, that secret being that as long as it's cute, I'll keep buying the same characters over and over again. Cut to me, laughing while crying, 57 years old, adding the 16th mini set and the 9th mini plushie set to my bag. I turn to the camera and say, I still have a complete set of Warrior Cats minis. Both the plush ones and the vinyl ones. It's interesting that they're being called mini plush when they don't actually resemble the minis that much, but that's fine. I don't care even a minute what they're being called, just that they have nice, big, cute eyes. Thank you for big, cute eyes, Warrior Cats website. So here we go, my hopes and dreams for the Warrior Cats mini plush, alright? Choosing only from the cats who have existing minifigures. We're going to ignore Dovewing and Squirrelflight because that's very, very obvious, but they are definitely my number 1 and my number 2. I really want to see how they handle Sandstorm's expression, especially considering that she was so emotive in the new graphic novel. I would love to see a Sandstorm that kind of resembles the Sandstorm from the graphic novel. They also have an opportunity here to fix Ashfur by giving him dark blue eyes instead of light blue eyes, making him a short-haired cat, and putting spots on his front somewhere. I also really want to see their super messed up Ivy Pool design on one of these. Granted, hopefully they would simplify the scars a little bit. I'm sure that J-Feather is already coming. Pretty much the second after these guys go out, whatever the next wave is probably going to have a J-Feather in it. I can see yet another gray stripe and J-Feather pack in our future. But the real question is, if they make a Ravenpaw, will he have the snake? I'll forgive them if he doesn't. There isn't really room in that little embroidered mouth to put a snake, unless they start putting magnets in these things. Either way, yay! Cute official Warrior Cats plush, finally.